What made you first take an interest in acting?
My parents got me involved in it. Basically, before I can remember, I was going to rehearsals with them for like community theater or dinner theater or something. So I was always sort of tapped into that community. And then I, through one means or another, I started doing like children's theater on my own, did school plays and everything, performances, and I started to really grow a fondness for it and a love for it. So I tried to cultivate that. I got really heavily invested into it, did more theater locally. I went to a performing arts high school and everything just to dive into it. I've always felt that I wanted to perform or express or entertain in some way. So I thought that would be a great avenue. And that led to stage and musical theater, which is kind of my first love. And then that led into voiceover, which is now my career. And I really love it.
How's it been, the fact that your voice is now on Toonami with one of the more bigger shows on the block with My Hero Academia finally in here?
It's amazing. I was of the group that watched Toonami every day after school. Started watching like anime on Adult Swim when it was like Cowboy Bebop and Shampoo and stuff. So yeah, it's really amazing, especially to be able to give back to the community through this show, which really means a lot to many of the people viewing it. It's very uplifting and motivational. So it's just nice to be a part of an anime that so many people are investing their time in and their energy and enthusiasm. And yeah, it's just really an honor because to see anime become sort of this cultural touchstone again is awesome, and I'm thankful to have a part of helping it.
Do you do any like motivational speaking? Because your voice seems to be like it speaks to the Izuku Midoriya, like the love and the passion is just like, man, it's just so easygoing. I just listen to it for hours on end.
Well, thank you. I've never truly considered it. I think that I have started to learn a lot about the art of positivity and motivating folks just by being involved with this with My Hero because of the source material. It's so heavily investing in those themes. So maybe I would never count it out. I think. It's always very touching when someone tells me that my work has inspired them to make some sort of positive change in their life or motivated them. I definitely wouldn't rule it out. I think I get a lot of gratification from helping folks make changes in their life and yeah.
Outside of your parents, who would you say has had the biggest impact on your career?
Oh wow. I definitely owe a lot to, I had sort of a teacher / mentor in high school who really pushed me to succeed in a lot of ways that I wouldn't have believed in myself to do. So that was very important. A lot of the directors at Funimation, especially when I was starting out and kind of getting my feet on the ground.
Kind of going along with that, is there anything about Midoriya that you wish you could bring into your own life and vice versa that you wish you could grant him?
I certainly wish I could just take him and tell him to be, more confident and believe in himself a little bit more, but that's part of growing up, So I think he'll figure it out. As for me, I would, I love his how quickly he's able to think on the fly and his instincts and he's able to take apart a situation very quickly, and I sort of devolve into panic mode when things go wrong. So I'd like his sort of short-footedness, I think.
Have you cosplayed as Izuku at any point?
No, I was given a costume or his hero outfit as a gift, but I've never cosplayed it.
What keeps you motivated?
It's a few factors. I love what I get to do, so that's being able to do that every week and express myself is very that keeps me going a lot. Just the thought of more work to be done and more fun to be had. I try to, when I'm not working, spend a lot of time at home and just decompress. I like to play video games and cook, so if I can blow off steam in that way, then when it's time to go back into work mode, I don't feel so like I'm drowning under everything. And also conventions like this, really getting to be out here and meet folks who are so passionate and so enthusiastic about what they love, and I mean, My Hero is just it's sort of a phenomenon right now, but even taking that as a microcosm for the anime scene at large, it's everyone I meet, has their favorite character and their favorite show, and they wouldn't trade them for anything. So getting to be here and share in that sort of electric energy is really awesome. It's very humbling as well. So, when I got started, a lot of the work is just, it's very satisfying for me because it's what I like to do. But going to conventions more often has really humbled my way of thinking, because what I do is important to me, but it's also really important to folks who are watching and folks who maybe need these stories to be told. So I just want to give my best for them.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. So you did mention cooking. I do. Is there like any food that you like really enjoy cooking that really just like brings you just a whole bunch of joy?
Yeah. I really love cooking like curries. I like cooking. I got on a real big French onion soup kick last winter. I don't know. I just like. I especially like trying new recipes. Like I try expanding my comfort zone in that way is really refreshing, especially. When you cook it the first time and it's not quite right, but then your mind starts racing and like, oh, well, maybe I could change up this and this and this, and then when you get it right the next time, it feels really, really good. And I don't know, I just like, I like the instant gratification of you get to enjoy what you've created.
I don't know if you're aware of some of the public opinion about you, but for me and many others, we consider that you've had a bit of a meteoric rise from what many would have considered illegitimate forms of voice work, being an abridged actor or whatnot, to all the way up to the top of Funimation, rubbing shoulders with all of the big wigs and very, very famous voice actors. How do you feel you handled this transition from, a big dreamer like Deku to being someone who is considered an official star?
There's something to be said about just finding your own confidence. When I definitely didn't expect my career to shoot off so quickly. But when you're in the room at that point and people have invited you in, you're there for a reason. So I try to tell myself that I deserve to be there. I do good work, and as long as I keep doing good work, I can continue to do that. But I've always tried to tell myself, I just try to focus on how can I continue being a professional. How can I be a leader on set or on stage or in the booth to my peers, and I'm very observant. I take a lot of time to just see what other people that I respect are doing and how they operate, and try to incorporate little bits of everyone into my own process. But I mean, it's also sort of like treat every show you're working on as the important work of art that it is, even if it. I don't find any of it, illegitimate. It's all coming from a place of passion and creativity. So if you just give 100% to everything you do, people, I think, will start to notice and want you around for other projects.
What's your most memorable experience at a convention?
I get a bunch of people tell me that they've made that My Hero specifically has helped them overcome some, not necessarily trauma, but it's helped lift themselves up out of a darker place. People have told me, for instance, just anecdotally, someone said to me and a couple of my castmates once that they had a surgery, they tore something, and the doctor said, well, you may not be able to ever walk again. And he, it was really devastating for him, but through watching Hero and Deku's journey, I guess, he was motivated to, little by little, start making steps toward becoming active again. And when he was telling us that story, he was saying that he'd just finished a half marathon. So it's just really I think things like that are really amazing. It just speaks to the power of how meaningful these shows can be to people. And anime specifically is really funny because it's animated, but it's also telling these very adult stories. So that's why I think families can get together and enjoy Hero so much, and getting just to see people lift themselves up and lift each other up is, I think, really beautiful. It's one of the coolest things about collaborative art that there is.
Did you ever think that My Hero would rise to the ranks of where people are saying it could be this generation's Dragon Ball Z? And now that it's airing on Toonami at the start, it's starting the block now.
Right.
How does that kind of feel to you that this show has taken off as well as it has?
I hope. It's funny. They when we were getting started with this, when we were all auditioning and everything and getting production started, they sort of whispered to us like, this might be pretty popular. But we didn't really see the effects of that right away. Like, the first season sort of came and went. People liked it, but it didn't really catch on. And now it's just funny to see 2-something years later, it's become such a cultural touchstone. It's really like a phenomenon now. You can't go 5 steps in a convention without seeing a Deku cosplayer. So I think it's really, it's wonderful. I never, I didn't want to get my hopes up really, but I did identify pretty much right away that this was something special. The creator was telling a very different kind of story with very different fleshed out characters. They felt very real to me right away, especially Deku. So, I don't want to say I expected it, but to see it grow so much and so astronomically is, I think, just a testament to the writing, and I do understand why it has become so popular.
What's up? Go ahead.
What was it like working with a veteran like Chris Sabat?
It's awesome. I get to work with just a ton of stupidly talented folks, and of course there's elements of like I grew up listening to these voices, but the funny thing is I really don't get to work with many of these people until we go out to conventions like this. A lot of the dubbing work we do is so solitary that I don't get to really hear performances unless they've been recorded beforehand, or I get to see everything come together once the episode's out, which is also very gratifying. But it's really amazing to see these industry veterans interact with fans and do their panels and everything at these conventions. I find it super fascinating because they've seen so much more of this cultural rise than I have. I've been around to reap the benefits of it, and they've been the ones working and slaving away to make anime legitimate and sound legitimate and pass it through television production and everything. So it's very humbling. It's just to be working with these people who clearly care so much about what they do.
What's something that you're passionate about that you would like to share with more people?
I'm extremely passionate about stage and musical theater. I know that's sort of not very far removed from what we've been talking about, but I've been thinking recently. I had the luxury of getting to go see a lot of really amazing shows and art growing up. I lived very close to New York. I grew up in Maryland, so it was only like a day trip away to go see a show, and I did that pretty often. But I think it's really a shame that really great shows and art like that are so exclusive and so you're priced out. It's the Hamilton craze that how you could not get in unless you paid $1,000 or you were lucky and spent your whole day waiting. So I'm really passionate about sharing great art. I want people to see that and be engaged and be similarly inspired, because that was so important to me growing up. And I think that in the same way that sort of anime is coming back in vogue, I'd really love to see more people be able to see theater productions or musicals, whether that's making them more distributed or like putting them in movie theaters or something. I don't know, but I really like to share great art, and I'd like to invest more of myself in doing that.
What should we expect from season 4 of My Hero?
It's intense. I mean, I read the manga, so I know what's coming. I don't know exactly how they'll adapt it, but it's some of the best stuff that I've read in the manga so far. It just keeps getting better and better, and characters you love will get great moments, and you will laugh, and you'll cry, and you'll cry.
It's not just My Hero Academia that you seem to be a part of. You are also in another big show, Black Clover. And I'm
yes.
curious on how you feel on that project, considering it isn't obviously as big as My Hero, but it's been getting more and more popular, especially with its tsunami run as well.
Absolutely, and that that's cool to see, because they're very much in a marathon right now where it's just an episode every week for the past 80 weeks. So it's really cool to see people fall in love with these characters so quickly, because that story is being pumped and churned out. I'm a big fan of One Piece, so I understand that sort of that shonen way of storytelling, where it's just it's breakneck and it keeps going and you got to keep up with it. And I think that's awesome. Like My Hero is sort of an atypical shonen, and it takes breaks and gives room to breathe a little bit. And I think that Black Clover has started becoming so popular because there's just so much of it now to enjoy, and the world from, you know, the 4 characters we have in episode 1 to the 200 that there are now. There's so much more to love, and more people that become your favorite. I don't know. It's just really, really cool to see that take on a life of its own so rapidly.
That's going to be our time for the interview time part of it. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Questions.
Yeah, thank you very much.
And have everybody
Yeah,
move
appreciate you.
To the next step, to the wall.
Fanboys hate fangirls. If you enjoyed the video and you want to see more, click that subscribe button and don't forget to ring the bell. Follow us on social media. You can reach me at Carnell Holly on Twitter, at MadDragon2000 on Instagram, and we're on iTunes. Check out our podcast called Writer's Roulette. Give it a listen, leave a review. But until then, you know where to find us.